This is Daybreak. Time now for our paper review on this 18th day of July 2019. Today, obviously, being bulls and bears, we have a slant towards the business stories in the papers, and also we have some experts who will help us take a look at different issues within the business world this morning. They're smiling as I mentioned the word experts. I wonder why. So let me introduce them. From there, right, we have Caleb Karuga. He's a farmer and agripreneur. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And a former journalist. A journalist. Once a journalist, always a journalist.
You go fair once in a while.
You go fair once in a while. We have Steve Biko, a financial research analyst. Good to meet you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. And
last but not least, we have Waithaka Gatumia, the CEO of Centonomy. Welcome as well.
Thank you.
A bit later on, we'll be moving over to the other side where we'll have a slightly more extended discussion with our experts and an audience to talk a little bit about issues to do with the economy and inflation as well. The cost of goods and services rising. Why and how do you adjust? That's our question this morning. And you can talk to us, our details.
At Citizen TV Kenya, that's our official Twitter handle, at Waiga Maura @Zinzi_K. Hashtag Daybreak is your ticket into the conversation. Now get this, there's all this debate around maize. Should we import maize, and whether we should import maize, where do we import it from? So Mwangi Kiunjuri says that we have a deficit within the country. We need about 12 million maize bags, but the other side are saying no, we have enough within our trades, within our stores rather. In fact, we have too much. Farmers haven't even sold their maize to NCPB. So question is, where do we stand with this, with our maize issue? It's a conversation we seem to have year in, year out. Caleb, I'll begin with you because this is something that you are constantly in touch with. As a farmer.
And this is actually on page 4 of the Standard.
You'll find it there, mystery
reference.
of 1.8 billion paid to maize traders. Here's the thing, whether we have a deficit or not, for me, the thing that is really pegging my attention is the fact that the farmers might have the stock, but they don't want to sell it for obvious reasons with the current relationship with NCPB. Where do you stand on this maize issue?
I think, and the good man Kiunjuri, I think he's misguided.
Okay.
From where I stand as a farmer. When you talk to farmers, I was in Kisumu and Kisii 4 days ago, and there's plenty within our borders where we are importing. We're importing because someone wants to benefit.
Right.
That's number one. When you talk about 12 million bags, I mean, what are you trying to tell us? If you were to say 2 million bags because of the yellow maize, which we don't produce as a country for livestock, I would understand. But 10 million, that's too much.
Are the farmers that you get to interact with, what are they saying? Where do they stand? Would they sell their maize to NCPB, given the past relationship between farmers and NCPB?
Now, farmers are saying, why would you import, whereas we have enough in our galleries, all right? First, do an audit of what we have before you say, let's go and import. But no one has done an audit because it's tedious. They would just go, let's go to the NCPB, let's look at the numbers. So why is maize going to rot in the next few months? Because you're going to hear those scandals. Maize is rotting in our silos, yet farmers have maize that no one has bought from them.
So what's the way forward? Do we remove NCPB and Kenyans directly just buy from farmers?
I think that probably would be a way to look at it, because NCPB as it stands is politicized. Everything is political. The system is set up for failure. There's a reason someone's going to benefit from this circus. It is a circus, if you ask me.
It's a circus. That's how you deem it.
Yes, it's a circus.
Steve Biko, as a financial research analyst, you obviously look at trends. What trends are you seeing here? When you look at year in, year out, nearly the same story?
Basically, as he puts it, the system is set up to fail because we are basically, when you're looking at the trade balance of import-export, we're basically meeting the quota for imports, where few people who are connected are actually trying to see how much money they can be able to meet. Because the other day, the chair of the Strategic Grain Reserve, Dr. Noah Wekesa, was very critical when he said that he's not been able to meet the CS for agriculture to discuss the actual deficit, whether we have it or not, and there's a disconnect on how they're able to, they're handling the issues. According to him, there is no deficit. In fact, according to him, he has over 5,000 acres waiting to harvest. I'm a farmer myself.
Acres waiting to be
I'm a
harvested.
farmer myself.
Yes,
I believe by the time maize comes from Mexico or Ethiopia, I will have harvested mine, and I'll be wondering whom I'm going to sell to. And the other question is, even in today's paper, we can be able to see that 1.8 billion has already been paid out to a single sourced farm. So the question is, who are these people? And what we need to do as a country, as you asked, is to actually say no to what this government is actually saying. It's time for us to start saying no, because I believe we have enough maize in our reserves to last us, to even export to other neighboring countries. Because when you talk about, I had him in parliament saying that we want to talk to Ethiopia. and other COMESA regions to import. I mean, seriously, are we trying to tell us that our farmers are lazy, that we're not actually doing what we need to do? So in terms of trends, we're basically looking at embedded cartels in government. And when I talk about cartels, I'm basically talking about Kiunjuri and his friends.
Okay, stop there. That's a very strong allegation to make. You have proof.
Reason is when the CS for Agriculture talks about, he cherry picks someone in a slum in Nairobi and talks about the number of maize, the number of packets for maize flour that this person is going to survive on. He doesn't have the statistics.
But that doesn't mean he's a cartel. I mean,
no.
Again, that's...
Well, explain to me where 1.8 billion has been paid to already for import.
That is the cause of, that's for the investigator.
Yes. But you see, in terms of trends, where there's smoke, there's fire.
So and you're concerned that there is smoke and you think he has a lot of questions to answer.
Yes, and even in fact what he was talking about in Parliament, he was not really categorical. And my question is, the person who should be asking, the person who should be asked whether we have enough maize or not is the chairman for Strategic Grain Reserve. And there's no coordination between the two offices of the CS, and because of political fights. So we're not looking for an agricultural solution to a country to improve our food security. We're looking for a political solution whereby few people are connected to make money for political reasons. Speaking
of food security, shouldn't we not be seeing the government then having a long-term solution? What happened to Galana? If Galana was well done, if it was properly done, we wouldn't be seated here having this conversation.
You see...
okay, Biko, go ahead.
We are afraid to actually speak the truth because we're going to be sued and things like that. But you see, when you're looking at the food security aspect in this country, why hasn't the people who are involved with Galana actually inside a prison cell somewhere in this country? Because we spend more than 7 billion for that irrigation program. The Israeli company actually pulled out saying there's too much corruption and it's not feasible. And to date, no one has been held responsible for that. That amount has gone like that. And if I'm not wrong, 2019-2020 budget actually did include Galana irrigation scheme in that, and yet the project failed. So in terms of food security, we have the solutions.
There's an insincerity.
We have the right policy. The problem is implementation. The problem is that there's a disconnect in terms of how we are running this country, and Kenyans were simply being rolled over, and being told, it didn't happen, so move on to the next issue.
Okay, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, look, I always look at it from the individual perspective, because at St. Autonomy we train on the area of you're preparing for your personal finance. And if you hear issues of food security, understand the cost of living is going to go up. I know that you can make a difference, and I think that's what we are being told here. And getting involved, speak to your parliamentarian, don't just sit back and do nothing about it. However, you also know that even while this is happening, that cost is going to go up at some point, and you have to begin to prepare for that. As individuals, you have to understand, if you could be able to stockpile like these wonderful farmers, both of these gentlemen here, I wish I was one at some point, then you could prepare yourself and buffer against that. But if you can't, then now you have to begin to think beyond that point. Because in as much as, yes, we can speak up and do all these things that we're talking about here, and I believe that we should, we also must begin to prepare, because if there is going to be a shortage, or if there's going to be importation, that simply means cost is going to go up. And the most unfortunate thing is it is the poorest in our society who are hardest hit when we have a situation like this.
Caleb, you wanted to jump on this.
We tweeted about Galana when it came up, I think 2013, 2014, or about. And we were very vocal and we said, I was of the opinion, and I still hold the same opinion, we should have devolved Galana Kulalu in the non-food producing counties of this country. Rope in Mandera, Wajir, Turkana into the food basket. All right? So if you devolve it, say you start doing irrigation, water harvesting first in Wajir or in Turkana. Those people would do drought-resistant varieties like cassavas. Then we are going to bring it into the national basket. So the pressure we are having on the almighty maize will cease. But you cannot tell me Galana Kulalu is going to ride on maize alone.
So do you think then Galana shouldn't, because it was a government/private partnership, it should have just strictly been a private partnership if we only involved Israel and the government just stood aside? Today, 2019, this is 2019.
But also in a sense you feel that government should also not
should not have even got into that project.
Should have left as a private.
Exactly. And even private, if they asked private people, they would tell you, I would have gotten my money, my return on investment on other counties, not Galana Kulalu. I would have done it better and spread it across other counties. Devolve Galana Kulalu. But someone
because
wanted
beyond Tana River and it's in Tana,
but someone
it's in
wanted to get some money out of it. So it wasn't sexy enough to do other counties to go to a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot launch teachers and nurses, but you can launch projects. So you get a kickback from that.